Hi everyone, this is Bob and we have got another important story today. We have seen quite a lot of inventions these days coming from technology, but we have to pay for them. In fact, today's story is about an invention that quite a lot of people use it free of charge. Let's see. I believe that inventions are very important in our life because they come in examinations. They ask you about inventions. No, not really. I'm just kidding. A wonderful invention. Well, I like to put a name on today's story as it is, really. You know that we have to pay for any a small invention, like bicycle, if you can, well, call it, like a jar or a glass. It is an invention, of course. We have to pay more for something bigger, more important, like a car, a mobile phone, or something. But I believe that there are still some very, very important. Well, I believe that they can change a lot of things in a lot of people's life, but they are free of charge. You do not need really to pay for it, and you're not going to understand it until you do need it. It becomes a necessity for you. Okay, today's story is something very interesting. Let me read it and try to guess what it is about. And then we come back to talk about the details. Yes, it is a lot better. Well, many hearing impaired people use sign language. They talk with their hands. Two hearing impaired people can talk to each other. They both use sign language. Sometimes a person who can hear interprets for hearing impaired people. The person listens to someone talking and then he or she makes hand signs. There are two kinds of hand signs. Some hand signs are for whole words. For example, there is one hand sign for the word love. I am sure that you know it. There are hand signs for different actions, things, and ideas. Some of the hand signs are very easy. For example, the signs for eat, milk, and house. You can see what they mean. Others are more difficult. For example, the signs for star, egg, and week. Second kind of hand sign is a finger spelling. In finger spelling, there is a sign for every letter in the alphabet. For example, to finger spell the word love, a person makes 4 different signs. It is much slower to finger spell, but it is useful for signing names and technical words. People can use both kinds of hand signs together. Each country has its own sign language. For example, American Sign Language, ASL, is very different from British Sign Language. Using sign language is almost like a dance. The whole body talks. Sign languages are beautiful. I am sure that you have seen the news. Sometimes we have somebody on one side of the screen, and at the same time it is trying to translate what he hears into a sign language way. We know something like this. It's very interesting. It is free of charge and it has changed, I believe, lots of people's lives so far. You really do not need to pay for it. Have you ever thought about it? It's very interesting. Well, you're going to be asked about inventions. And if you talk about technology, well, somehow you're repeating things. It seems that you have just found it from the environment, or maybe you read it in the newspaper, or you've seen it, a lot of things on TV or heard from radio, listen to the radio every day, and you know what's happening around the world about the inventions. Well, that's a type of something very easy to get. But if you really wanted to talk very effectively, you're going to need something new, something interesting to make. Let's talk about the details of the story. Well, it says many hearing impaired people. Well, hearing impaired people, it is an adjective, okay? It is an adjective plus a noun. Many hearing impaired people, those people who cannot hear sounds very well, use sign language. So sign language is a standard language, but the problem is that we have a sign language in every country and it is rarely international. They talk with their hands, or sometimes they point out something. Two hearing impaired people can talk to each other. Talk to each other. Okay, they both of them, use a sign language. Sometimes it's adverb of frequency in the beginning of the sentence without comma. Be careful. A person who can hear interprets for hearing impaired people. Okay? So, who is the word that's going to connect two parts of the sentence, sentence A to sentence B. WH question acts like conjunction. I believe as a conjunction, really. The person listens to something, listen to somebody, listens to someone talking, and then he or she makes hand signs. Okay? There are two kinds of hand signs. When you say two, the kinds is turning into plural because two, and the sign is another noun we need to put S here again. Some hand signs are for whole words. For example, we are going to make an example. This is very important. Look at it. When we have the example, okay, we have capital F with a comma. It is in the beginning of the sentence. There is one hand sign for word love. Yes, of course, you can make this, and this is the hand sign. There are hand signs for different actions, things, and ideas. Some of the signs are very easy. And now here we have, for example, in the middle of the sentences, there are two sentences that we are going to connect. For example, as in conjunction, we need two commas, okay, and we put, for example, with a small letter F between two commas. The signs for eat, of course, it is not the part of the text. Okay, it doesn't mean that we are going to eat something now. No. Eat, milk, and house. You can see what they mean. It means that it is very easy. When you see the hand signs for eat, milk, or house, you can understand this. For instance, The hand sign for house is like this. Okay, milk must be something like this, and eat is something that you can, point it out. Well, you can see what they mean. It means that when they do it, you understand it. Others means other things are more difficult, of course. Again, we have got another example in the middle of the sentences. For example, in double comma with a small letter F. The signs of a star, of course, egg and week. These three words, these two and that one, these three words are very difficult to show it by the hand signs. So they really need to say it. Okay, so they are going to use another type of this invention. This is a very important and very, very interesting. The second kind of hand sign is finger spelling. Yes, it means that for every letter we have got one finger spelling. For instance, this is this and this is A, for instance. This is this and this, for instance, is B. Okay? Is a finger spelling. Oh, in finger spelling, we have got comma here. There is a sign for every letter in the alphabet. This is particularly difficult. For example, to finger spell, it is a verb here. The word love, a person makes 4 different signs. It is much slower, yes. It takes time to talk finger spelling. Yes, of course, it is a lot faster when you are showing your hand signs to finger spell, but it is useful. It is interesting. It is good. For signing names and technical words, sometimes you really need to do something very, very special. For instance, like signing names, it's very important. You must show it. Or technical words, this is important too. People can use both kinds of hand signs together. When you use both of them, you're going to be a lot faster. Sometimes you put finger spelling, sometimes you put the whole word by a sign language. This is very, very fast, and it's going to make it a lot more interesting, I believe. Okay, it says each country has its own sign language. This is going to make it difficult. For example, American Sign Language, even among native speakers, English native speakers countries, we have got differences. ASL, American Sign Language, ASL is the abbreviation. Is very different from British Sign Language. Maybe it is BSL. It is not written in the story, but I believe that it is BSL. If you're going to show it, you really need to put it in the capital letter. Using sign language is almost like a dance. Yes, somehow you're doing this. This is very interesting. I like it. It's great invention. Yes. The whole body talks. Sign languages, all of them. Yeah, it is going to talk about all languages. All sign languages are beautiful. Yes, they are very beautiful and very important as well. Okay, would you please talk about, this is something about invention. Yeah, you are going to talk about, would you please talk about an invention? Talk about an invention that you like. Maybe you know this, that you like and think it is important. Okay, what kind of invention is important? What kind of invention Do you think it's important? It's very interesting, huh? You're going to be asked a lot of things about inventions. Would you please talk about the invention for the future, that it is very necessary for the whole world? Talk about an invention that you like to see it in the future. If you have an inventor besides you, what would you like he or she invents? And a lot of questions about inventions. Look, this is very, very interesting. You really need to read a lot of things about inventions and try to reproduce them the way that you think it is going to be faster, more clear, is going to turn into something very practical answer. I mean, very fluent answer, very clear answer in examinations or whenever you're going to talk about something with your friends, like this, like any sport, like any other things that you believe it is necessary to know it. There are a lot of things that we need to experience. There is no really any way to make it fluent. But reading, thinking, analyzing, rewriting, listening, and there are so many benefits reading, writing at the same time, because you're going to use your mind and let time, okay, and effort, I mean, let's enough time and effort to think, because, well, the language needs thinking. The language does need somebody who thinks about something interesting and produce it. This is not the way only you say, okay, I just got what it means and finished. No, you really need to repeat it again and again. In this story, we didn't have very special idioms, but we have a lot of important relative words. When you're writing, try to make use of a lot of these words in your text and your paragraphs, because you're going to use them again to explain such a kind of important invention. I think that it is enough for this session, and till next beautiful session. Have a nice time and goodbye.